U.S. President Donald Trump has officially rescinded Hong Kong's special status and approved sanctions against China for enacting the new security law in the city. Hong Kong has enjoyed a special status in trade and diplomatic ties with the U.S. until now. The high tariffs on Chinese imports, for example, were not imposed on goods from Hong Kong. The U.S. also accorded preferential treatment to Hong Kong passport holders. Now, all these special provisions have now come to an end with this executive order. Hong Kong and China will be treated as the same entity by the United States.
No special privileges, no special economic treatment, and no export of sensitive technologies. In addition to that, as you know, we're placing massive tariffs and have placed very large tariffs on China. First time that's ever happened to China. Billions of dollars have been paid to the United States, of which I've given quite a bit to the farmers and ranchers of our country because they were targeted.
Trump also signed into law the Hong Kong Autonomy Bill, which sanctions Chinese officials involved in imposing the national security law. The law specifically targets banks that deal with sanctioned Chinese officials. China has vowed to retaliate against the U.S., possibly with sanctions of its own. China said that the Hong Kong Autonomy Act maliciously slanders the security law. Beijing has already imposed sanctions on 3 U.S. lawmakers in response to the Uyghur sanctions.
So, regarding the U.S. side signing the so-called Hong Kong Autonomy Act into law, we have released a statement. This act smears our law on safeguarding national security in the Hong Kong SAR, threatens to impose sanctions on China, is in serious violation of international law and the basic norms governing international relations. It is interference in Hong Kong affairs and China's internal affairs. We firmly opposes and condemns that. The U.S. attempt to obstruct the implementation of this law will never succeed. So China, to uphold our legitimate interests, will make necessary responses to sanction the relevant personnel and entities of the U.S. side. We urge the U.S. to correct mistakes and do not implement this act and stop interfering in China's internal affairs. If the U.S. insists on going down the wrong path, China will definitely hit back.
The relations between the U.S. and China seem to be in freefall. The two countries are sparring over the pandemic, Hong Kong and the Uyghur crackdown. Trump effectively ruled out any improvement in ties by saying he had no plan to speak with Xi Jinping.
Thank you, sir. I want to know, when's the last time you spoke with President Xi of China, and do you plan to speak with him in the near future?
No, I haven't spoken to him. Well, no, I don't. I have no plan to speak to him.
U.S.'s top diplomat Mike Pompeo also joined Trump in his criticism of China. Pompeo congratulated the pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong for successfully conducting primary elections to choose candidates. He also called for a free and fair legislative council election in September.